StarCraft 2 World Championship Series. I'm Nathanius, joined by Cats, and boy, you guys just had a banger of a loser match.
Yeah, that was great. Really fun games. So, but now we have a banger of a winners match.
Yes, we do. MarineLord's mech was fun to see. We got to, I mean, okay, I'm biased. He battlecruiser rushed into me, so that's about.
Made a lot of them too. I mean,
Yes,
we
he
haven't
did.
seen a lot of that. That's for sure. Like most people make the one battlecruiser, maybe 2, 3 if you're feeling daring. But MarineLord went to what, like 14?
He went full Nathanius.
Yeah, he
That's what
really
happened.
did.
He really did.
Let's see if the ultimate form of French Nathanius can actually make guts bleed.
Perhaps. Let's see if he can do it. We got MarineLord going up against Serral. This series will start on Acropolis.
Indeed.
That's about as good a starting map as you can ask for.
I think
Big
so.
things I think he needs to keep his eye out for if he wants to play that style is going to be Serral. We know is very good, much like Raynor, although I'd say Serral was doing it earlier. The Nidus Swarm Host memes, he's very, 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 very good at.
Why is the Swarm Host good against this? Against battlecruiser stuff?
It's not. It's just he just does well with it in the non-BC phase. I guess it really depends how many BCs he gets, or if he does get them, or if he plays normal mech.
Yeah, MarineLord for a very long time has been the type of player that really goes for a lot of air, like adds additional starports and whatnot. Like that's something that he did back in the day, even before BCs were good. Like he would just use other air units and transition to that air terrain. So he's really, really fun to watch, that's for sure.
Speaking of people who are fun to watch, in the top left, we have our first player in the red. He's the world champion. He's Serral! Yuna Sadala.
And the Polish product, just kidding. He is French. He is MarineLord. Alexis Eusebio. Eusebio. That's not the most appealing last name.
My God, like he's gonna take a gas with this. So, thing is, I was talking to this.
He's gonna float, right?
I don't think he's gonna float.
You don't think he's gonna float?
He'll float
the
too.
Reaperinos. Right, our server is much too good.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about this, Cats. I asked you this question because I knew it would happen the next day about blocking Reaper Cliff as Zerg, and you're like, well, no, of course, it's silly. How would you do it?
Yeah.
And MarineLord heard you, and he said, you know what? I probably could proxy Reaper on this map.
He certainly can and will. Roach Warren, though, for Serral going up. This is the anti-dream for MarineLord, and I'm not sure how he does it, but he's doing it. I mean, he's doing it, right? Like, how did he scout anything yet, Serral?
No.
Is this just God-given spider senses? Perhaps some preparation?
I actually think it's spider sense.
Yeah,
he might be thinking that MarineLord did this. He did the 2 racks on this map against his opponent, right? He did this to Lambo. He got a drone.
Yeah, finding some damage. This might have been a trend, or he might have lost to MarineLord on the ladder with this, right? Like things like that are difficult to account for us as casters, but as a player, I know, right? If you beat someone with a build like this, and like that someone is Serral, then you think, maybe Serral doesn't know how to deal with it. But then if Serral is accounting for you doing that, well, then he probably knows how to deal with it. So let's see what he does. MarineLord, a very good job catching the Zerglings that are trying to bypass this and try to apply pressure onto his wall, because if he gets to that wall, then you have to kind of just repair it endlessly, didn't he?
Yep. Well, he needs to buy a lot of time with these Reapers. If Serral is able to just push them back and start moving across the map, like right now, MarineLord's super dead. Yeah. So you need to, what he needs to do is he needs to get tanks. He needs to get like 1 or 2.
Well, the grenades are going to be awfully helpful in mitigating this move out. And Serral is very far behind in terms of economy, right? 17 workers to 22, and MarineLord even daring enough to have gotten or have a natural base in production. Now, some units did sneak out for Serral, so they will actually be able to probably deny the CC, as MarineLord will have to basically pull his entire army back for this. And this is bad, because you were talking about this, Nate. This is a free push, free space for these guys to push forward. So wow.
And guess what? Oh my God, is he building a reactor with his factory? No. All right. Well, I don't think he stops this Ravager Roach attack.
It's going to be difficult.
Just the 2 Ravagers too far ahead of the Roaches.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy.
It's a colossal mistake because...
By Mr. God. Yeah. 3 Ravagers now being made. That is a very good number to have so that you can start one-shotting those Reapers. I think it's 3, right? I believe it's 3. And, yeah, very scary stuff. Or is it 4? No, I want to say
I thought it was 4. Ravagers do how much damage a hit?
No,
I thought it was 18.
Mathematics, let's check.
Because Reapers have 60 health, no? Am I crazy?
Well, in any case, 3 Ravagers is a pretty strong number to have right now. And there is a Liberator, and the Liberators are obviously not the greatest response to Ravagers. I think we're just going to have Serral close it out.
Especially because he has 3 Ravagers. He can, or now 4. He can smite the Liberator with Corrosive Vial too.
And those just need 3 for sure. So
he doesn't want to get surrounded by SCVs. It's the only way the Ravagers die.
Yeah, there's no Rush buffer now, so the Ravagers are actually in a little bit of a threat. And I love that MarineLord didn't siege the Liberator. He is now going across the map with the Liberator, which is, I think, what should have happened right away. And there is a medevac on the way, as well as additional Hellions. No reinforcements from Serral. Reinforcements would have ended this game 9 times out of 10. But you know, opting not to and securing himself an economic lead behind it otherwise. So lesser risk taken from Serral while still accomplishing a lot with this. So again, had there been reinforcements, game would be over. There's no reinforcements, that's fine. Serral is ahead. You have Serral ahead, well, you might as well have the game be over.
Yeah, well, Serral's way ahead, yeah. Only 44 drones to 18 SCVs, cats.
Yeah, that is no bueno, my friend. And remember that the CC got cancelled as well. I think that those 4 links essentially won this game. And I think that this game is over. But the 4 circlings were so very important, not just because they deny or delay the command center, and they threaten the wall, so you need a unit behind that wall anyway, but most importantly because it makes MarineLord make the decision to pull back the Reapers, and as much as they may not seem too important with grenades, just hitting the Roaches and the Ravagers in their path to your base, you can actually not just damage them, but greatly slow their progression. And if you do that, maybe you have the units, you have the Liberators in place, or maybe you have time to even make a tech lab, get a tank out, etc., right? So it was all about buying time, and that is what allows Serral to move out with those units and just get in a position where MarineLord can't do much to stop him. So
yep, he's going for a fusion core, but the Nidus network is about to complete. Denying this would be big. But does he actually have enough to stop a Nidus, even if he builds it right in his face? I don't think so. He could try to land the Viking and pull SCVs, but I think it's already too late.
I aren't think that.
I guess it depends how many queens he has to focus fire with. He has to transfuse and get rid of the Liberator if he does this.
He will.
There you go.
Where's the units, though?
Do you believe in miracles?
I don't know. These queens are gonna die.
Liberator! Ay, ay, ay. Beautiful repair.
Very nice.
Beautiful repair.
Very beautiful. Oh, and trying to section the Roaches in position. Like, just great thinking by MarineLord, right? Not that it matters at all. But he's doing all the right moves.
I mean, the Liberator was as good as it could have been. He didn't kill the original worm either. So he puts everything back through that Nidus again. GG. Serral takes game number 1 here against MarineLord. Very well done.
Very well done indeed. 4 links to kill them all. Sneak out with 4 links.
You try to proxy Serral. You try to proxy Serral. Forget about it.
Forget about it. I thought it went okay. I thought it, like the proxy, it didn't do too much. The first Reaper found some damage.
Is killing a drone with a 2x Reaper like
a couple of drones? Well, the thing is, I think that Serral was going for the Roach preemptively. I don't think that he was necessarily anticipating the 2x Reaper. I'm not sure how it actually fares, but I think that if there's enough delay, MarineLord had a sizable economic lead. So I think that if he can hold that counterattack, he's in a fantastic position. And I think that that counterattack was holdable if he, you know, could have bought enough time. So I really think those 4 links.
I think
everything.
I think if his Ravagers had waited with his Roaches and he didn't lose that first one, I think he wins that game even faster, cats.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right, though.
You're right, though. It did seem like he was preemptively doing it, so he may have just attacked him no matter what.
Yeah.
He may have been thinking about that from the first moments of this game.
So yeah, I don't think it was a straight build order counter even by Serral, even though it looked it, even though we kind of like hinted at that it might have been by virtue of that spider sense.
It was serendipitous to say the least, and I do think it made sense to plan it for this map because Acropolis was the same map where he 2-raxed Lambo.
Yeah, absolutely. And roaches against 2 racks. Now that is what you want against 2 racks non-reapers, right?
Yep.
So
because that's the way it's Serral. Serral is one of those Zergs. If he gets like a bunker rush on his natural, he always gives it up and goes straight to roaches, and then just micros and just wins. He's pretty good.
yeah.
Serral's
So
pretty
this
good
time
at
he
video
decided
game.
I'm just gonna go roach preemptively in case you do this, and then I'm gonna win
He's-
anyway, and I'm gonna recover anyway. So
He's kind of the world champion.
he's kind of the world champion. Look at that purple glow on his face. It is very Zerg, very world champion-y.
He's been glowing for a while.
Indeed.
It's not the Terracine.
Yeah. And we have game number 2 starting here. Nate?
Yeah, new repugnancy. Let's see if MarineLord gets a chance to execute a build, or if he's just going to proxy again.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance that this is an SCV that blocks the hatchery on the low ground, which I really like from Terran. It doesn't happen often enough.
There's another one going, Paolo.
Yeah, this is more Raxus. And I mean, MarineLord is basically just saying, okay, like maybe I cannot beat you in a straight game.
Rip.
Rip. So we're gonna see 2 more Raxus, 2 more times, and gas being taken. So once again, we're gonna see the Reaperinos.
He's got to wait a little bit for that second bear.
Oh my God, Serral's just too good. He smells it. He smells. He smells it, Nathanias.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, when the air is that clean over in Finland, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's not even this. He already is reacting even before he sees it.
Even
right?
the slightest disturbance.
Yeah.
Well, we already talked about this though. Serral has been going for pool first almost every game.
But
anyway.
now with the gas. Now with the gas.
yeah,
The
you're
gas
right.
is very, very indicative of, okay, like I'm gonna destroy any sort of cheese. And guess what this is?
Oh, the SCV's stuck.
Whatever. Oh, I guess he needs it for the bunker, doesn't he? Oh.
Yep.
And this is what happens when you don't do this type of strategy often enough that you would know these things, but rather you say, well, this is Serral, I need to do something, and you need to not have those stuck. So he's going to have to lift that barracks off as the first Reaper finishes.
Get stuck there, or did he tuck?
They're both stuck.
Maybe they're tucked. Maybe he can get him out. Nope.
They're stuck. And repositions the barracks accordingly as well. They're going to head back. Does he know he was spotted? I don't know if he saw the Overlord.
Definitely saw the Overlord.
Really?
At least, you know what? Maybe he didn't, but he
No, I
was
think
in
the Overlord
vision.
was on the high ground.
No, it flew
No?
down. It flew down.
Oh, okay. Well then. I
feel like
appreciate that he sent back the Overlords, the drones.
Now, if he can get a couple drone kills, that'd be pretty sick. He's not supposed to.
Yep. Serral once again going for the roaches. Again, not necessarily my favorite response against this though.
Well, 2 drones
Oh.
is where you start to get to your happy place with this type of push.
Yeah.
These lings.
How did they get there, man?
How did they get there?
I can't believe you've done this.
Stay away from that coffee machine, Cass.
You stay away from the coffee machine. So, we have now roaches, and yeah, MarineLord this time around has to be really careful. No more Zerglings have made it out onto the map, so if he decides to do the same response, drop the CC onto the low ground, it is far more likely now that he stands a chance at least. He has continued to produce some Reapers, is making a factory back at home. And there is a Spore from Serral, so okay, cancelled now. A little bit slow on that. There will be, and this is what I was talking about. The grenades can really start to delay this and hurt the army before it gets there. Of course, Serral is gonna push. Now there's pros and cons to pushing with Roaches and Ravagers. Ravagers have more range, and that means that the Reapers have to risk their own HP. You see the Ravager is always poking at one Reaper. Now that's a little bit sloppy. So the Ravager is always poking at the one Reaper in the front, whereas so you could morph Ravagers and threaten the Reaper's lives. But if you don't morph the Ravagers, then you can morph the Roaches later for HP instead. So you can just tank those mines a little bit easier, and that's the approach that Serral has taken here.
Building a Cyclone. And the thing about Cyclones is, without the mag field accelerator, it doesn't kill the roaches crazy fast. And the lock-on does not do bonus damage versus the Ravagers.
I kind of like it though. If you make a tank, you kind of restrain yourself from moving out anytime soon because tanks need so much buffer that a player like Serral is able to abuse it. With a Cyclone, if you clear this, you can at least threaten your opponent to where he doesn't just have the freedom to make only drones type thing.
That's fair.
But yeah, tank is definitely safer. Serral is not going to push the issue here as he sees the Cyclone and recognizes that with enough micro and enough wall-offs and enough time, MarineLord will be able to hold. So this game is actually kind of even.
Nice. Just gonna go home. Bring them Ravagers back. We've got a second Cyclone and a Liberator finishing. Look at that. Core de la Fusion again, Paolo.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think this is a great follow-up from MarineLord because he's going to be so delayed on the bio front, right, Nate? He's going to not have them stims. So
if he even goes for stim.
Oh, yes, indeed. So, so I like the Battlecruiser. We'll kick in a little bit later. But it is a very powerful kind of standalone type opener. Don't need too much setup, right? Like when we talk about other openers, like you need medevacs to enable, like, you know,
Battlecruisers are, Battlecruisers are good at doing what they do immediately on construction.
Serral has not noticed that Liberator yet, and MarineLord going for the double trouble here. Very nice block by the world champion, but still. But still, Nate.
But still.
5 drones actually going down from Serral.
Main base has been turned off for like a minute now.
This is fantastic, yeah. And that's all on the back of MarineLord threatening the third, right? So if we just looked at the third, we would have seen MarineLord being sloppy and Serral being very good at blocking the Cyclone and taking advantage of that and saving the base. But all of this MarineLord is aware of. He's just sacrificing essentially those units in order to do damage at the main, and he accomplishes just that. However, Serral somehow, some way, has knocked some units at the same time and threatens the natural mining of MarineLords.
He is so good at doing that too.
Yeah.
So good. We've got that Battlecruiser coming out soon. I expect to see him teleported across. It's interesting because he has the extra barracks from the proxy he did at the start of the game. So I guess he could theoretically still go bio, but I don't think he will.
Yeah. And the reason he is so good, by the way, is I think he has a great understanding or sense of how much his opponent can have at given points in time, or even how much his opponent will possibly have at a later, you know, foreseeable point in time. So he says, okay, like, he probably doesn't have much for these links. Right? And he starts making the links, he floats them away, he throws them away or sends them across, right? Whereas a lot of us, we say, well, I can send some links while stuff is going on, but you run into a bunch of Marines and you're like, ah. Well.
Yep. And you die.
Yep. 4 drones going down here.
Look how fast that.
Yeah, I didn't like that siege too much in front of the Ravagerinos. Yeah. 5 kills on the BC, however, not great. Would you say?
I'm not gonna say I hate it because this game started scrappy.
Thank you. Are we some sauce for that? That seems.
I always think that it's about the boulder. It's about getting the boulder rolling. The first BC, especially these days with how much practice Zergs have versus this now, at least most Zergs. I feel like the first BC is really hard to do too much with unless you're in the middle of being all in. Then when you teleport it across the map, you just usually instantly win because either their queens are in your base or they haven't built anything because they're just, you know, all inning you.
So you just have to hold. Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as the second BC can get in and they can start to do some damage now, because there's still no natural counter. The Spire is on the way, so that's going to add a clock to this.
Yeah, and like our observer was pointing out, the resources loss tab is actually favoring MarineLord at this point in time. Now, however, we have to account for the fact that there was 2 proxied barracks that aren't doing anything right now, so you might as well throw them into the resources.
It may as well be even.
Yeah. So it's a pretty even-ish game. Once again, Serral did commit to some roaches early on that didn't. Well, I guess they did accomplish some stuff. I would say this game is anyone's except for the fact that Serral is, of course, Serral, and he has been making some creeps, and he is taking a 4th base.
Well, worth noting, of course, I hate the idea that some people say that like resources spent repairing are resources lost, but I will say that some resources have been invested into keeping the battlecruisers healthy. So yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So I'd say that the total amount of, you know, spent resources in that regard.
Yeah, because you're also foregoing some mining in doing that too, right? It's not just the cost that the SUVs are mining during this.
Yeah. Always worth it to repair, though, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yes.
25% of the cost from 1 hit point to max. That's how it works.
That was a did you know moment missed because I did not.
You didn't know that? Oh.
You underestimate your Terran knowledge, my friend. So, yeah, we have a 4th now being taken up at the front by MarineLord. He is going to be morphing that into a planetary fortress, as he should. Some tanks coming down, and I mean, the unit composition-wise, this is looking decent for the French Terran. He has the pieces in place. Does he have enough pieces is now the question, because that's a lot of queens.
Good golly.
Good golly, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they are daring. I mean, he's going for it, right? Like, there's no retreating for this. This is a ballsy Serral type move where he's smelling blood right now. This tank off position. I mean, I don't know either, but he does, buddy. Because, I mean, he's pushing in with his queens. He's ready to transfuse those corruptors. That's his staying power right now. They need to get transfused, though. Okay. How could I have doubted him?
Good lock-ons with the Cyclones today. He needs to get onto the SCVs because the battlecruisers are being repaired. They actually can do this.
Yeah, and I love that MarineLord is kiting a little bit back to with the battlecruisers, because those corruptors cannot stay without. How does he do that?
How did he get Lings in there?
I have no idea. So,
well, I mean, I thought that he was trying to hold on one front, but he's actually, he's just dead.
Yeah.
The BCs are cool, but like it's a very bad composition for defending. Battlecruiser Cyclone Hellion is awesome, but if you get attacked, and Serral very deliberately planned this out with the way that he's done it.
With the queens, yeah.
Like this is like teleport doesn't help you here. You could go across the map, but then you're like basically saying I'm gonna try and base trade, and then maybe the Zerg will build like 20 spores. It'll be sour boot life.
Well, I think a couple more tanks, or that tank not being as exposed as it was, might have been enough to kind of slow this down. I do like what MarineLord did in repositioning the battlecruisers, but he did lose one a little bit early. The queens were there not to provide anti-air, they were there just to transfuse the corruptors, and the corruptors were there to deal with the battlecruisers.
He's got 3 BCs alive, and a 4th's about to finish again.
Yeah, he held the planetary fortress all whilst we were talking about this.
I thought he was going to be able to kill it.
Yeah, I mean, if he killed it, it's
really
game
good
over.
SCV micro. I mean, he danced around the biles on it quite effectively. And I mean, yeah, his natural's kind of been pillaged. He does.
Sure.
He's been building SCVs, so like that's the real saving grace is that MarineLord has 52 workers, which is acceptable, but spread across 4 bases, not really. And he needs to reseat the 3rd.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, like Serral commits onto that planetary fortress. I looked at it, you looked at it, we thought, okay, you know, he's gonna kill it. Serral looked at it, he thought, yeah, I'm gonna kill it. Yeah, but MarineLord looked at it, he was like, not today, my friend.
So this is where it gets tricky, right? You want to Yamato the Corruptor and get out.
But the corrosive biles pose a great threat indeed.
Yes, they do, and that's the big thing. Those Corruptors, once you're being forced on the defensive, he's just going to say, okay, well, I'll fly in, and your weak BC is going to be somewhere, wherever it teleports.
Yeah, this is not looking too bad for MarineLord on the ground, though. The BC can get repaired here. Will it be enough? Nope. And that is kind of big, as the Corruptors still continue to flood in. There is Cyclones. The ground force for Serral, not too powerful. So we'll get pushed back.
Yeah, it's interesting what just happened. I like the idea of like if you had been able to kill a good amount of forces and then maybe tell the Corruptors while he was being pushed back to pee on the planetary.
Yeah.
It could have taken it down.
Yeah, Serral's continuing to look for those resets onto the battlecruiser counts. He has committed a lot onto Corruptors, and he really wants to make use of them. Corruptors are, of course, the right unit to make against battlecruisers.
But they do get wrecked by Cyclones. I think the Cyclone was none of the best units in StarCraft at killing Corruptors, since they have that crazy damage output, and they're not affected. The lock-on is not affected by the armor.
Yes, indeed. That's a good point. The Corruptors, Nate, they have a 2 base armor. That's part of why they're so good at the against battlecruiser. What's the battlecruiser attack damage? Do you know? Or
the battlecruiser's attack damage versus air?
Yes.
It's 5.
5. So with 2 armor, that's 3. That's why I love making more armor upgrades onto Corruptors, if that's your way of dealing with battlecruisers.
Yeah. It won't help you deal with the Cyclones, but that's what your follow-up is meant to be for. Some Hellions are going to find a few cheeky drones. Tragically, no blue flame means all 3 volleys are required to kill the drones.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, yeah, I mean, that's 33% damage denial from base stats, right? From battlecruisers versus Corruptors. So you really, really kind of want that if you're getting any air upgrades or making enough Corruptors to make it worth your while.
And 1 Yamato can kill a Corruptor, but you need to have a lot. You still need to snowball the BCs, otherwise the Corruptors can one-shot them while they're channeling. I've seen it.
Damn. Okay, that's a lot of Corruptors we're talking about, Nate. Like a lot. Or do you think they can get 2 shots off while channeling?
You can get, like, think about the Corruptor's attack speed is it's like roughly 2-ish, and the battlecruisers, it's just less than 2 for Corruptors now in real time. The battlecruiser has like a 4-second charge up.
Oh, okay.
So I've had it happen where like 2 shots kill one of the BCs before it can Yamato, and then it can't teleport, obviously.
Yeah.
If it dies mid Yamato.
Right. That units cannot teleport. This is a fact.
There are some infestors, so Fungal could be at play.
Yeah, very nice job there by MarineLord, using use of his Yamato on cooldown and then teleporting to safety. Very strong army composition here. He has stabilized very nicely a man that we thought dead.
He's got a great army.
Yeah, very, very strong. And Serral was working off of a very all-in type army. We saw him commit with the Queens earlier, and I thought he was in a position where he was going to take it. In fact, if he just backed away, I'm pretty sure he would have won. But we and him alike were all confused, and that planetary fortress hold by MarineLord has made this game very well within reach.
Yeah, very, very interesting after he was able to survive that attack. And this is a big move out he's going for too. He's got a lot of tanks, he's got a lot of Hellions, a lot of Cyclones, and there are 4 battlecruisers alive.
Yeah, much lighter on the battlecruiser count though, and Serral is making infestors and neural parasite, I think, and has a lot of commitment onto that air army. I think MarineLord might just outright kill him here. Oh, good fungals though. Oh no, there we go!
Fungals, tasteless. Oh, Chihuahua.
Oh, Chihuahua. These are not just good fungals, they're good fungals in the perfect position, right? It's that ramp that you want to capitalize on, and it's this type of opportunity that Serral will take, right? It's like, I don't just want to fight you, I want to fight you where I want to fight you, when I want to fight you. That is the fight that he takes, the fight that he picks, and the fight that MarineLord could have kind of accounted for a little bit better, right?
He told him what he wanted, what he really, really wanted.
Indeed. You just tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
So, I mean, I was thinking about the potential of a counterattack. I don't think that's super real. The Cyclones are really good at bullying that type of stuff back. But I don't hate MarineLord's position at all.
No, it's not too bad.
You had a lot of money coming in. When you're playing these types of styles, that's generally all you need. If you're being kept... If Zerg can't stop your economy at all, and you have all the money to keep rebuilding all these forces, then more power to you, because he's going to get to 3 BCs at a time soon as well.
Yeah, he's going to continue to be pretty cost efficient. At the same time, Serral is also starting to look for cost efficiency with those infestors being added continuously. Again, I think that MarineLord could have ended the game right there and then, though, had he not run up with everything at once through the narrow choke, after being aware of the infestor potential with the Ravagers and Corrosive Biles.
Yeah,
but
he ate a Fungal and Bile to the face.
Yeah, right, like really, really hard. And there's nowhere to go from there, right? You're just in the choke. So, game is still pretty wide open.
He's got another move out on the south side. The BC's trying to go through center north. Now, the Neural Parasite upgrade is done, so in this situation, you maybe want to neural the BCs, tell them to Yamato each other, and then teleport into your Corruptors.
Yeah, teleport into your Corruptors or Spores, or even Infested Terrans if you have them available, whatever it is, but you use their teleport right away. Now, what I would love from Serral that we haven't been seeing from other Zergs that are fighting this sort of army composition with infestors is Burrow. Again, the versatility is so very strong.
Yes, especially for mind control.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like if the BCC infestors, they're not gonna willingly walk into them unless there's a very committed engagement. So what you want to do is be sneaky, work around those scans, try to be, you know, come from behind, for example. No Terran ever scouts behind their army. So one thing that I love to do is burrow infestors, go around, and then, you know, do my thing from behind their army. Have you ever scanned behind your army, Nick?
Yeah, well, I mean, the only way you can usually lose if you play the way that I play is to, you know, so.
Fair. But look at this, like 99% of the time the Terran will scan in front looking for those infestors, right? Like,
you're totally right.
So,
Burrow would be a really good call.
Yeah, I would really love that. And this is a really strong position for MarineLord, who is not clumped up at the ramp this time around. Not entirely anyway.
Got a good spread. Now the Broodlords are really strong. And here's the trick is that even though the battle cruisers can kill the Broodlords, oh my god, good transfuses.
There's the
Broodlords themselves are actually kind of hard for BCs to kill without Yamato. So he needs to have Yamato off cooldown, but he also needs to expose himself a little bit, and he may not have enough Yamatos to kill every Broodlord, because really just 1 or 2 Broodlords makes this push go backwards.
Yeah. And that is exactly why Serral is moving the infestors right under the Broodlords, right? It's because he knows when Yamato is available, the battlecruiser is going to have to push forward if he wants the Broodlord, and that's when he will parasite the battlecruiser.
That was expertly held there by Serral, because I think there's a million Zerg players that MarineLord could do this against, where he kills that base and probably still, you know, just like wins it right there. But Serral, he keeps his composure, keeps his cool, as always. MarineLord's building 6 command centers right now.
Yeah.
True Terran player.
Also, an additional, battle cruisers are really coming online right now, and he is a true Terran player indeed. He is maxed, so there's not much more to do. And I would love to see him do something that Sol was kind of neglecting, which is to sacrifice SCVs at a given point in time once he gets that economy truly situated, because it's about efficient.
Oh. Look at that, he dates the Broodlords up that way, and what he wants to do now is Yamato at the Broodlords.
Beautiful.
And then the rest of the army should be able to get a lot of
infestors are not here.
Support's not here.
Yeah.
The infestors are rolling up now. You need to get those cyclones pulled back, because you don't want the corruptors to just give chase onto them. Actually, no, he killed most of the corruptors there. You know what?
Bro, thank you.
Air Flyer Carapace, level 1 is not even done yet. He had +3 BCs. He can dunk on the corruptors now with battle cruisers.
Yeah, and that is somewhat surprising to me. I would much rather have armor over the attack upgrade for those corruptors fighting BCs.
Same.
Yeah, so yeah, at the same time, I really like that he got Burrow. He now has the potential to be a little bit more annoying if he comes from an off angle and get those neuroparasites and turn things around. But MarineLord, very good identifying where the infestors were, or at least that they weren't with the army, teleports into it very intelligently, and takes a favorable trade once again.
That's what you should do. Use the BCs, bait the army down one way, and then teleport up to the other side, especially if you have support there, like with those cyclones and tanks. Zerg player can't really punish you for it, and you just get tons of damage in.
It's very difficult.
Fronts.
I mean, we're gonna see Serral eventually have 2 groups of infestors at some point, right? If this was done to him every game, then we would see him have split infestors. So, but for the time being, we're not there yet. No one is yet perfect, including Serral. But he's
on his way.
Pretty darn close, yeah.
He's as close as anyone can be.
Indeed.
Here's the Broodlords again. There you go. Trick-shotting those broodlings out.
Yeah, MarineLord, this is a pretty Monkas base to take, but look at this. Once again, dragging the army to one side.
This is perfect execution.
Yep,
so
but
sit here.
Infestors do have Burrow. So there's but why isn't he moving with the Burrow? See, that's what I mean. What if you unburrow, then Fungal, I feel like your chances are a little bit bigger than if you have a screen worth of Infestor.
They do move a little slower when they're
whatever.
There's multiple groups of BCs. This is just perfect. You can't do it better than this. If I was going to tell someone how to use BCs, this is how you do it.
Yep.
Now that's a
little bit greedy.
And the fungal is more important than anything else.
Yeah, I like that he split the BCs, right, to at least suck up a little bit more energy. But yeah, we'll lose 3 BCs, and it's no longer... Yeah, he shouldn't have gone for those Yamatos, right? It's tempting, but if you see the Infestors on your screen, you're aware that they got the Nurgle and the Fango, which was the better choice there.
Yeah, I mean, he is rich, so I can't hate him for it, but I agree. He didn't need to lose those BCs. If he wants to switch to something else, that's fine. Look at that money. That's what... Actually, how many orbitals does he have?
Enough.
6 orbitals, 5 planetary fortresses.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
What is that upgrade, Nate?
Which one? Oh, high-sec auto-tracking. He's getting the +1 range for missile turrets, planetary fortress, and auto turrets.
Cool, I guess. Is that a strong, powerful upgrade, or is that a I am very, very rich upgrade?
Against this unit comp, it's gonna... I like it for defensive turrets that are anchored against corruptors because I personally think that the +1 range is always good because you're just gonna start shooting stuff that gets near you faster.
Yeah.
So if a Zerg player tries to dive on your battle cruisers, like over your base, like more of the turrets are more likely to be shooting. So I like it. I would always get it if I was playing mech.
And if we're talking diving as well, the retreat will also tax.
Yes.
Right? So.
Yes. And as to add to that, building armor is probably more important. But as long as you get both, they're both really, really nice.
Sweet. Well, there it is. Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that the building armor? What a guy.
Because he's got right, Broodlords. He got +2 melee.
Oh, all right. This is daring. I'm not sure if it's gonna work out as the Infestors show up, Nate.
If you get into a fight against the infested Terrans, rocket launchers.
Okay, most of the BCs get away. I love the idea by MarineLord there, but the Infestor's a little bit too close for comfort. So he was looking for a lot of Yamatos there. And
he didn't really get them at all.
He got a few, but not enough to compensate for his loss there.
He can't be chased on the air that much because he has this base. And he did get the Infestors to burn out all their energy. So I think the next 5 BCs finish, you just teleport them straight to the top left. Which would be super risky, but I think could work.
This is a fun game, Nate.
Serral, you need +2 air armor, by the way, bruh. It's way too important. It's way too important for these corruptors.
Well, the BCs, the BCs aren't very much fighting the corruptors to Serral's
No,
credit, right?
but if they had to, they could actually win because they have a 2 upgrade advantage.
At some point, both players decide this is the fight that we want to take. In that fight, that armor comes.
Because right now it's 9 damage -3 since he's got +3, so 6 damage per hit. It's totally fine. It's the same amount of damage as like a battle cruiser shooting an overlord at the start of the game, which isn't tremendous, but you can kill them.
Right.
So if he were to get +3, you know, obviously 5 damage, you know, that's a significant drop off.
Yes, indeed. So Serral with the Burrowed Link there, just for spotting stuff.
Love it.
It will get spotted instead, but
Did
yes,
you
gotta
know, cats, that burrowed banelings have the most vision of a burrowed Zergian?
I did not know that at all.
Burrowed banelings have, they're the only one. I think the Infestor might have.
That must have been a change at some point, huh? It sounds like a thing that you would adjust for so that burrowed banelings are more used or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. They just have more vision when they're burrowed.
I love it.
Either that or I mix it up and it's the Zergling that has more. But I think it's the Baneling, yeah. Because it's the only thing that really has an active ability that you use while burrowed.
Yeah.
Except for the Infestor.
And formerly the Swarm Hosts.
Yeah.
Many millennia.
I wonder if the Swarm Host still has the big vision while burrowed. It might. That might be true. I haven't burrowed.
Well, what about Lurkers,
actually? Hard to swarm.
There's quite a few units, actually.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the old days.
Same. So, battle cruisers here to defend. This is such a daring base for MarineLord to take, and I love that he thinks that he can hold it, and maybe he can.
You know what we're seeing, though? What the real thing that we're seeing is? It's reality that practice against certain styles and things has a huge impact on your ability to deal with it.
Yes.
Because who would have said that MarineLord would take Serral 30 minutes plus
from a disadvantage, arguably.
Yeah, and to me that just says that Serral really doesn't actually play against too many people who do the BC memes.
Another thing to be spoken of in this particular match, I think, Nate, is everyone that plays Serral kind of plays with fear. MarineLord doesn't. MarineLord is a, you know, he is confident individual. I think his play shows, right? Like with those BC teleports in, that kind of play that's bold, that says, you know, like, I don't fear you, like, I know where your stuff is. Whereas Sol was playing very scared, right? Like Sol would accrue an advantage and then kind of just like sit back and.
Cats, he has 17 battle cruisers.
That is a very many battle cruisers, yes. Very many battle cruisers, my friend.
Yeah, Serral's super dead. The only way he loses this is if he teleports onto the Corruptors and every single infested Terran is lobbed out.
Oh, now a Raven. I love it. No, I think the way for Serral to do it before I saw the Raven was the Infestor flank. You get how many battle cruisers for free there? Like a bunch. Yamato Cannon, all of their friends to start the fight, and then you take the fight.
Yeah, the Raven definitely complicates things, especially since he never got the Carapace upgrade. The Dorito cannon against the Corruptors would be devastating.
Yeah.
But now there's it's almost too many BC. I think it's too many BCs.
Fully
I think we're
upgraded
actually there. I think we're there. I think we have too many battle cruisers.
We might just have it. Only 46 workers for MarineLord, so he has being very conscious of this. Serral, this is it. This is it right here. This is the final fight.
He needs to throw every single infested Terran out.
Yeah, and this is where you really want that additional armor if possible, especially with the Doritos.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, there's another thingy that attacks multiple times that benefits from the anti-armor missile. It's called the missile turret, so having even that to help pepper in here is really nice.
And these guys are going to help also with this many Corruptors.
He actually did kill most of the BCs. I'm astonished.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that were the parasitic bombs as well, like doing damage over time. The Vipers have played a great role. He didn't get them for abduct, but the parasitic bombs, and wow. It is actually Serral that will push through.
If I was going to look at the replay, I would look at how many infested Terrans he was able to lob into there. He did have a ridiculous amount of Corruptors.
Yeah.
But, damn. Yeah. No, he had 17. He had 17 plus battle cruisers going into that fight, and he ended it with 4.
Yeah, and now Serral has a sizable lead, except for the fact that MarineLord has a much better economy, so he really needs to close this out and capitalize on it, or else we're going to see MarineLord still continue to be on the edge of winning here.
I think we're in a weird world where I'm going to say that losing 14 battle cruisers in a fight actually didn't end up being that bad for him because he has so much money.
Yeah.
He can't
replace. If those Liberators had been in the fight, I love that he chose to add Liberators, by the way. That's not a choice that many Terrans would make, because like the question that people pose in their heads is often, what do I make against Corruptors? And the answer is not Liberators. But what do I make against 30 Corruptors? Well, now you're talking, because AoE units are going to be so much better. You don't really want to make Thors against Broodlords, and they're too slow anyway. So the Liberator becomes so much better in dealing with this particular army once there is a critical mass of it. The problem is they arrive so late that they don't actually get to contribute in this fight. And yeah, those infested Terrans, they do a lot of damage against air units. I'm wondering what you would do against them, though. Like, how do you clear those? Because you're going to get fungled and infested Terran. Is there something on the ground that you should have had to account for those? Hellbats?
Hellbats are really good. If you like click, you don't click the first one, you click like one of the ones in like the second or third row, and the Hellbats can reach that. And you just use their cone AoE to try and blow through the infesteds.
And ideally, as you say that, Nate, look at what we have in production. It's some Hellions. Right, so MarineLord also aware of this fact. It is like you guys are twins or something. It feels like whatever you say he does.
Well,
so
I mean, I appreciate the compliment, but he is French. So.
I'm sorry.
I love you.
Me too, buddy. So
it really comes down to like if he can get a good fight where he can lob those infested Terrans underneath. They are the key, right? They've got the +2 attack. The armor on the BCs doesn't matter to them, so if you can get out enough of them, those rocket launchers do blow BCs to hell and back.
Yeah, they blow anything on the air to hell and back, that's for sure. So let's see what happens here. Good abduct. That is oh, okay. Taxed. And this is a good position for Serral to take and siege, but he really needs to make something happen. Income very much in the favor of MarineLord now. Thank you very much,
So many orbitals in this game. He has so many command centers too. There's just so much meat to get through, even if he could push this.
Yes, indeed.
Is he sending the? Is that the infestors going to the north side?
Yeah, and we talked about this as well in the series against Sol, right? Something that he was lacking was that meat. Same thing for the previous series against Lambo. We've just had such a treat of TVC today. It's been such a fun day to watch and learn from.
Yeah, no, it's been a crazy TVZ day, to say the least. But Serral can't max out. MarineLord, he's there. He's done. He's done it. He's got a very large army supply. I mean, Serral also has a large army supply, don't get me wrong. He's down on workers.
Yeah, it's the orbitals.
But one base is all he's really mining up of. He's got the middle base too, but there's barely anything there.
Watch out for those infestors.
At some point, he's going to lob 100 infested Terrans into this and move in with everything.
Yeah, needs
That's
to land those fungals first though, so there needs to be somewhat of a commitment, because otherwise infested Terrans first. If you don't get the fungal at least simultaneously, those PCs are going to do work. Very nice by Serral here identifying the...
It's just one. There's a tank in there, isn't there? Oh, no, okay. Never mind.
Dorito. Big Dorito. Not enough to push onto the spores, perhaps. Yeah, I like that. He needs to start dealing with these spores. Ah, that guy is gonna get neural parasite. Realizes it, pulls it a little bit back. Okay, I like this angling here. I think one can still be neural parasited. One of those stores. Gotta be really careful. The brood bird's not pushing forward, but they could get Yamato'd as well. It's so important that he has the Liberator range, by the way, right? Like it's zoning so nicely.
This was one of the things that Maru did, I think, in the last tournament he played in. Was it at the ROG tournament? I can't remember. But he made a really good use of ranged liberators to move out with BCs, which actually is still very rare. We played a game, I tried to do something like that. I mean, you just killed me because I had nothing else other than the BCs. But like, you do the little liberator move out with it, and you cover the BCs with ranged libs.
Yeah, for the neural, right? Like, it's so difficult to engage onto this as well. For Serral, I'm not sure what you do if you're Serral, so I'm kind of just waiting patiently until he shows us. Or he loses, which will be equally pleasant at this point.
It's hard. You mentioned attacks, because what you really need to do is just abduct the liberators. If the liberators are gone, remember, this army is very bad defensively.
Yeah, I think abduct has to be the play, right? Like anything that overextends.
Yeah, I agree. If he's able to, just force a fight where all the BCs have to fight, and he can drop 30, 40 infested Terrans, he will win. Yeah.
So one Viper's not gonna cut it then, Nate. I think that Vipers is or should be the choice. He only has a couple of them. The infestors, gets a neural finally. But will he get punished for it?
That's good.
Nice. Good reach. Yeah. It's still a good trade for him, but he hasn't found many of these, and MarineLord has continued to gain ground.
Remember, this is about the last real phase that Serral has to work with.
Yep. And he's gonna have to forgo it. So he is moving towards the top, and probably gonna look to expand north now. But it's looking very difficult.
His base options are all bad too. He just got the one base west of this one here.
Yeah. So again, now he's contesting for the north as he should.
He's done a really good job attacking up here, though. This is actually one. Serral, as he claws his way up to max supply, has managed to deal devastating damage to the expansions, and a lot of the resources that MarineLord had were all drained out there. So MarineLord actually only has the one mining base, which is that southeast one.
It's quite absurd, but if that was a PF over there, this game would be
He's not
very
mining
much closer,
gas.
I want to say.
MarineLord's no longer mining gas, I think. What a thought.
This all comes down to the one engagement. I mean, I think that MarineLord has to maybe look to contest the north. Oh, no, okay. He's just going to retake this. This works.
He's like, I'll take whatever I can get my hands on. 3 more BCs. A lot of it really does come down to trying to force a big fight. Like, this army is, they're both equally strong in terms of, like, either one could win this game, and it could look easy for either player based on the fight that it ends up being.
Yeah, I would not mind ghosts as well, potentially for EMPs. As,
the guts on Serral, can I say? All of his bases are mined out. He's long distance mining with 36 drones. And he had the money to build a hatch, but he's instead pumped his last couple of quarters into the Queen machine.
Yeah, he's putting everything onto the next fight, onto the next attack. The player who wins the next fight will probably, almost certainly, win the game. Yep.
He doesn't want to attack into the Liberator position, so that he has to account for that. But
replaceable, really. I mean, they are, but they won't be. replaced.
Yeah.
Okay. Pieces here. No Yamatoing on the roaches. I wouldn't mind those being used at this point in time.
This is still the best way to do it. There's the only minerals that are left are up there, so some BCs here, and then he's gonna try and what, catch the bird lords or something?
Yeah, but they've been spotted. I think he's looking maybe for the hatchery to Yamato, right? That's why he didn't Yamato the roaches. It's the only explanation. So is he gonna be able to do it?
Yep, and then he's like, wait, there is no hatch? He's like...
Okay, and now he'll take the Yamato on the roaches, so very consistent with his thoughts is MarineLord. Well done by him.
I think you're gonna want to build a hatchery, Serral. I guess he just thinks that there's no chance he could actually get the money up.
There it is.
There we go. What a game. This map completely mined out. 40 minutes.
This is an absurd TVZ. I'm at the edge of my seat.
Yes.
Yeah, forgive me if I don't sound too excited, but I am more interested than excited right now. I am. The excitement is contained within in my wide open eyes right now, because this is a really awesome game to watch.
Indeed, Paolo. I feel like MarineLord's got this now. Like, I feel like I feel like the chip away on the BCs is too good, and he never has to take that big fight.
Yeah,
and
but the problem is, how do you engage onto creep? And Serral's doing that so well, where he's going for the north side of the map, right? Like he's now realized that the north is his terrain, and MarineLord can't really, like, this is not the type of army, Nate, that you can just move around very easily. I love the 4 BC hit squad to go for that hatchery, and I hope that we see more of that. Because if he's able to do that and deny the mining of Serral, I think that's how he wins. But if not, then I think we're looking at a split map situation. MarineLord's gonna have to wait until he mines the bottom bases to start contesting the north, right? And that's a longer endeavor, and he's gonna make a bigger army yet still as he sacrifices more workers.
Yeah, I still think that the key here for Serral is he has to force a fight. He has to get MarineLord to directly engage him. And then if he drops 8 infested Terrans out of each of his 20 infestors, he will insta-kill this whole army.
Some sauce. Can we look at the bottom base, the 6 o'clock base? I want to see the... Okay, so it's starting to mine out, and that's why we see the army repositioning, right, to the north, like we were talking about. So now he's going to look to do the same thing that he did at the bottom, but now at the north. And I think that at this point, Nate, what Serral needs to do is what you were talking about. I think that if he gets Vipers, that's the way. I think that the Infestors are not going to cut it in this position. And there's a couple of Vipers. Okay. That's permanent damage. It's difficult to replace, but MarineLord now has a very hefty bank.
Yeah. He also really has to avoid fighting in Dorito cannon. If he gets hit by the Raven, he has to disengage, which could also open up a huge opportunity for MarineLord.
Yeah, and surely Serral is going to look for those engagements. Only 2 Liberators at the moment, so a little bit surprising. Would love to see a few more, because those are the ones that we're making it so that MarineLord could continue to push on forward, right? Like right now, if Serral wants to take the engagement for whatever reason, if he decides this is it, then his Infestors are not going to suffer that much. He's going to lose 1 Infestor here and there, but ultimately he's going to be able to cast everything.
The fact that there's only 2 libs is that I do think now might be the time to try and yeet oneself out and grab like a fungal here to start this engagement. Is ace.
Yeah, absolutely. And Serral's going to be running low on time as well. MarineLord is accruing a bigger and bigger advantage as time goes on. There is no gas.
You can't replace those spores.
Yeah, and there is no gas for Vipers either, so he's kind of locked on the... Wow, what a guy. This is the only possible spot where he could have grabbed that BC, right? And
MarineLord started killing his own BC.
Okay, 2 more Liberators.
And now it gets harder to try and force the engagement.
Yeah, exactly, much harder.
And he's just going to slowly Yamato the spores, because why not?
Yep, so I think Serral didn't identify that one window, and it's not like he would have for sure won. In fact, he might have most likely lost anyway, but now it gets harder and harder because those Infestors are going to die twice as fast with twice the amount of Liberators there if he chooses to fight. And if he chooses not to fight, then he's going to get pushed back and he's going to stop mining, right? Yep. More Liberators. MarineLord has just been making such great decisions through and through this game in terms of what unit he produces and the reason for those units to be produced.
Yeah, no, he's done fantastic. 15 battle cruisers, 25 Infestors.
And yeah, I mean, Serral doing what he can with those counterattacks. But I think he's on a timer. I think MarineLord's done.
Yep.
200 gas for Serral. I mean, he could add 1 Viper, but that's about it. And I really think that the Vipers were the way to go, Nate. I really think that abducting here is the only way that he could have started trading. Otherwise, he's just taking damage and bleeding out.
And it's still all that's really happening.
Yeah.
If he had been able to get forced to fight with 2 libs, you're right. It would have taken a little while for him to kill the infestors with the liberators. But now it's literally just spoon tearing, channeling his inner Thorzane as MarineLord.
And it's beautiful. I mean, he's leaping forward so very carefully, just a little bit here. Yeah, Serral's getting a little bit desperate.
There's enough liberators that they can actually. He still kills one of them, but there's too many liberators here.
Oh, that's a gutsy position. But at this point, MarineLord can also afford to make mistakes, by the way.
Yep. He's got 6,000 minerals.
Could Yamato the hatchery right now? Should he want to? He has yeah, he should just
got the power.
He's pretty much in position. Those infestors look. Ooh! Gets it. Nice.
If I would try to use the Yamato on that to try and kill it. See that?
Yeah.
He moved with on hologram mode.
Okay, here comes the Dorito cannon. And it's gonna hit all of the army of Serral.
Still
gonna
really
be the go.
It's funny because
Yamatos.
I've had this situation happen where I thought I was going to be able to win if I just got a good Dorito cannon, and then I yeet myself onto the enemy.
Oh no.
And if they drop all the infested Terrans, you still get blown up. So that's why MarineLord is being so patient with this, because he knows the only way he loses this game is if he takes a fight with his BCs over like 40 or 50 infested Terrans. Then he will die.
But the Dorito cannon still accomplishes something, right? It's not for nothing. Yes, it wasn't used.
It buys space, yeah.
Yeah, it makes it so that Serral is more hesitant to engage onto the army of MarineLord, and that buys him the space to Yamato cannon the hatch with impunity.
Maybe try to get underneath this army? I don't know. He's getting scanned forever.
Yeah,
At this point, there's no minerals left to mine, so all you can do with the orbitals is scan.
I guess you could also scan and deplete Serral's minerals on his side of the map.
Oh, I would offensively mule here.
For sure.
Like, take the money away. Every penny, every single penny counts.
Yeah, especially when you're as broke as Serral is. He really needs to win one engagement consistently, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Decisively.
Decisively, thank you. We are just synced. So, yeah, I guess we're just gonna wait it out. I mean, neither player is gonna want to engage. Serral certainly cannot engage onto these liberation zones. And MarineLord is probably thinking, well, do I want to engage into Serral, right? Off my own terms.
Yeah, no, you don't. You really don't.
So, because that's how you throw the game. So I think that MarineLord is gonna win this. It's only a matter of if Serral chooses to engage, or if MarineLord takes another hour to win this, because he's going to be pushing very slowly, and it's what I would do, quite honestly. This is not one of those situations where the game is over and just close it out. It's more like, if you make any mistake, Serral will kill you still.
Yeah, gets one of the BCs there.
Mm-hmm.
MarineLord can't afford to rebuild them. He lost a good amount of his infrastructure, though. What does he actually have? There's 8 starports. Are they by the army? I'm like, okay. He rebuilt a bunch after his base was ravaged, but he didn't even put tech labs on it.
Is there a resources mined? Can we see? Is there a way to see?
Tragically, no matter how. Now that you're an official WCS caster, I can tell you that we've asked for that.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten it.
Yeah, because that would be really important. If we look at resources lost, that is deceptive, because MarineLord has actually lost more resources, but he has also basically mined an extra base and is about to secure another one.
I would use Yamato off that BC onto one of the Liberators, and then teleport it into the... He killed his own BC to try and deny it, but that's one of the best tools that you could use to kill these Liberators now.
True that.
I love the Parasitic Bomb. Like, if you get the Liberator count down...
I mean, that's what he's been going for, just Parasitic Bomb whenever he wants. And the Vipers have been the MVP, quite honestly. But there's only been 2 of them.
Yeah.
The Infestors have tried their best.
See, that can get problematic real quick if your hive just gets killed.
Oh, he's going for it. Okay, here comes Serral.
The final countdown.
Yeah, he decides he's weakened the army enough. MarineLord, and he will be stepping onto the Dorito cannons, onto all the liberation zones. I think the Serral's doing it.
Yeah, well, he got infested Terrans underneath the BCs. GG, Serral advances out in first place.
Well, surprise, surprise. I thought MarineLord had it.
All you have to do is get infested Terrans under those BCs. And
yeah, well, we talked about it. It would have been nice to have some Hellbats, maybe Ghosts for EMP. Yeah. Serral identifying that the units were clumped enough, weakens the army with a few parasitic bombs. And against all odds, he just breaks through and kills MarineLord. Wow. I really think MarineLord had it. Like Serral had been conceding ground for such a long time, and that's because he didn't feel confident taking those engagements, right? But
should have tried to split off a few of those BCs like he was earlier. BCs are weakest when you have them all together and they're defending. Like, simple as that. Like, you're posturing against that army. Battlecruisers are not good at head-to-head engagements against that endgame Zerg force. It's much better to try and, like, just take, maybe teleport one to each of his bases. Be like, I'm going to give up 3 BCs, take out any tech or infrastructure, because it's really hard to replace that at that stage of the game. And honestly, he had all the money
felt like he was getting picked off or something like that as well. Like those parasitic bombs, you know, they're doing damage.
He wanted to deny money from Serral, which is why he was up there on the top side. But like in an ideal scenario, you keep that army at whatever you think the most central point is, and you just chill and just trade with Yamatos and teleports, like by a planetary. Like you want to hold back somewhere closer, because he took that fight over open space as well. Like a planetary to fall back on would have been a lot better. But
yeah,
at that point, I think, honestly, scanning and just dropping meals on those mineral patches would have been a more effective way to deny the economy.
Yeah.
But
no, but I mean, still, he wanted to take that base, right? Like, you want to have that that leeway to mess up a little bit more.
I don't disagree. Weird game. 50-minute game, guys. That's it for that match. Let's take a look at the schedule, as we do have another series remaining here. It's going to be our decider for Group D for... Damn, that was a long map. Sol versus MarineLord. More Terran versus Zerg is coming at ya on the other side of this break. We'll be right back. You're watching the World Championship Series.